Hey, let's jump right into it. I'll give you a quick little rundown here. I recently moved, and during the move, my table saw cart broke. The vertical member there snapped off, along with the caster. The casters to begin with were very undersized anyways. I wasn't really happy with the size of the cart, so I wanted to upgrade it, and that was one of my first priorities in the new shop. Now, like any good woodworker, I'm very frugal, and I like to reuse materials as much as possible. Also, let me apologize up front. You're going to see a lot of my butt in this video. It's a new shop, a new setup. I'm still working on the camera angles. Also, recording this audio, there's a lot of road noise, so I apologize if you hear the occasional engine. So after harvesting the carcass of the old cart, let's go ahead and start cutting the main vertical members on each corner. These are the 4x4s. They're going to carry most of the load straight down to the new beefy 4-inch casters I have. Next, let's go ahead and cut the 2x4s down to size. These are the horizontal cross members that are going to tie in the vertical 4x4s. Now, as you can see, this is pressure treated wood. I didn't go out and buy it. I had it scrapped laying around, and I didn't want to go into waste. So I definitely don't recommend buying pressure treated for this application. Now, I also don't think you need to watch me cut every piece of wood, so I'm just going to skip ahead here. The other nice thing about this shop setup is I have direct access to my garage door. In my previous place, it was a townhouse, and I couldn't really back my truck up directly into the garage. And here, as you can see, I can. And this was really clutch, to be honest, because I didn't have a table saw set up since I'm making one. The bed of my truck worked perfectly. I just grabbed my track saw and cut everything down to the correct size. And some of you might be wondering, hey, where's the beef? You know, by beef, I mean dimensions, measurements. What am I cutting all these things to? Well, that's a good question. I debated putting them into the video, but this is a very custom thing. My space, my table saw needs, you know, everybody's going to be different. So this is just a good idea of what to do. Now, if you are interested, I could develop these into plans and post them for free. Let me know in the comment section if that's something you want me to do. Now, while you're down in the comment section, you might as well just comment, tell me what I did wrong, or any suggestions that you would have done differently. Also, hit the like and subscribe button. That really helps me too. Every little bit of feedback goes a long way in making these videos. Trust me. Thank you in advance. And with that out of the way, let's get back to my ramblings. I think I talk too much in some of these videos, but, you know, nobody said anything yet in the comments, so I'll just keep going with what I'm doing. Now, I've skipped a lot here, but if you've been watching, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just securing the 4x4 vertical columns to the MDF panel, and then those horizontal 2x4s to tie it all together. Some of you may be wondering why I'm using that trigger clamp. Well, a lot of these boards had twists in them, and I just did it to get them straight and true, or as true as possible, before I screwed them all together. At this point, before I go any further, I want to get the casters attached. This way, you know, it's not too heavy trying to flip it upside down when it's all complete at the end. So let's get those in place, and they'll be a lot easier to move around. Remember before in the beginning I said you're going to see a lot of my butt? Well, at this point going forward, you're going to see a lot of it. And I left this footage in just to show some of the struggles I had making this video, constantly moving things around with the camera also, not tripping over extension cords, etc., etc. Anyways, enough whining. I do realize this is a lot bigger space than some people have out there, so I'm not going to complain too much. Now I'm just making the upper horizontal members that are going to tie the 4x4s together. I'm turning these 2x4s flat on the long side, and the reason I'm doing that is just to give myself maximum clearance when I'm putting storage underneath. Structurally, you're going to want to put these vertically like the bottom ones I have there, but It's not a super heavy table saw, and I don't plan to put a lot of storage here. I don't really need to worry too much about this bowing and sagging down the line. So if you guys haven't fallen asleep yet or changed the channel, you can see I'm toe screwing everything together. The common term is really toe nailing, but I'm not using nails. I don't know if toe screwing is a thing, but yeah. I didn't want to drill pocket holes. I wanted to get this done as quickly as possible, so I'm just going with speed and efficiency here. Is it the right way to do it? Is it the prettiest way to do it? No, but to each their own. Again with the clamps, I'm using this just to hold everything together until I can screw it all in place. Some of the 4x4s weren't perfectly straight up and down, and again the 2x4s aren't exactly the highest quality. Jumping ahead again, don't need to watch me make every cut and screw. Let's get the mid panel in place. Now it's finally starting to take shape, and you can get a little more excited. Luckily, I didn't hurt myself here, but I gotta say, I still got it. Watch out Olympics 2024. At this point, I finally have a working surface to work off of. Even though I'm hunched over, you don't have to look at my butt anymore, so you're welcome. And right now, I'm just cutting the upper vertical members. This is what's going to hold up the actual working surface top. So with a few of them screwed into place, I'm going to put my table saw onto the cart now just to measure out where these next ones are going to go, because they're actually going to frame the table saw in place. And you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about in about 2 minutes. And once you've got a position, go ahead and fasten them down using the same methods as before. At this point, we can go ahead and secure another MDF panel. This is the actual working surface, and I had to do it in 2 pieces because I didn't have one solid piece large enough. Alright, it's finally starting to come together. As you can see, I need to raise it up a little bit, so I gotta build this little 2x4 box, pedestal stand, whatever you want to call it. That way I can get my final measurement height already, as you can see, but I didn't take into account that I was gonna have to raise it up, so now I have to recut that hole. It's not a big deal, just trying to think it through and make sure I'm not wasting my time. So, mistake number 2 being corrected at this point. I gotta take this top off because of where I marked for the fence rail. I have to actually dado it out or mortise it out, whatever you want to call it. I gotta cut a slot to fit the fence rail, and you'll see what I'm gonna do in a minute. So you may be asking yourself at this point, what is he doing? I'm just adding shims to the working surface of the MDF side. I want the table saw top to be just above or proud of the working surface for the MDF panels, because as I'm running material across it, I don't want it interfering in catching on any corners or edges that might be raised above the table saw. Alright, so believe it or not, we're entering the home stretch. Let's just go ahead and add some accessories at this point. First is the dust collection. I just want to frame it in, make it nice and clean and neat, and hopefully pick up on a bit more dust. I never really had any good dust collection before, so I'm trying to get better at it. So another little detail you got to do here is I got to notch this hardboard top for the fence itself. As you can see, I can't slide the hardboard all the way over to the table saw top because it's going to interfere with the fence. Well, I need clearance for the fence, so that's all I'm doing. I'm just notching this out because I want to minimize any gaps and I want this to look as built in and professional as possible. So with the hardboard cut, let's just go ahead and secure it. Use your preferred method of fastening. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I use screws and nails so I can pull it back up and replace it as needed. I don't glue the hardboard down, but if you want to glue it down, glue it down. If you want to Velcro it down, go right ahead. It's your table saw cart. So for this I had to just do a little trial and error. I got 2-inch rubber couplings as you can see and then 1.5 PVC couplings. That's what fits on these Dewalt saws. Whatever your table saw is, you're going to have to customize for yourself. Another little detail is securing the table saw so it doesn't move around while you're working. The last thing you want to do is have this thing shift on you while you're trying to cut through something beefy and have it kick back, or that's a serious safety issue. So I'm using these little blocks that I cut myself, just some from scrap wood, and I'm going to nail these down. This way it's going to be nice and tight and it's not going to go anywhere in either direction. And I'll show you how I'm going to prevent the lateral movement too. Time to adjust the power cord. Here I'm just going to fish it through, and then as you can see I went out and bought a surge protector, and it's got the nice USB slots so you can just plug a cord directly in without needing one of the dongles to plug into the actual outlet. So figuring out where to fasten it, that's all preference. I settled on this vertical post here on the left side, and yeah, I think that'll work out well. And that's a wrap. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end if you're still watching, so thank you. Again, you could go crazy with the accessories here. I thought about adding a bar on the side to store clamps. You could put doors, shelves, trays. I mean, you could go crazy with it. So, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Again, any feedback down below is helpful. Like, subscribe, follow, you know the drill. Thank you.